Hello, my name is Simon Henderson, and first of all, I'd like to thank you for registering and joining the course. I would also appreciate it very much if you took the time to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel when you have the time. In this video, I'm going to give you an idea of what is coming up in this course. And I'm also going to explain the process of a mix and why we do things in a certain order. So, what is a mix and why do we do it? A mix is not just putting the things that we have recorded at the right volume with each other. If it was, that would be so easy. Because as we were actually recording and creating that music, we will have tried to make all our choices about what sound we want at that time. So why would we want to change anything now? So here is where a bit of sound theory knowledge comes into play. So when you're listening to one track in solo that you've recorded, you're obviously just listening to the thing that you recorded and the sound choices that you made at that time. But when you put the same sound with another sound, i.e. you bring up another track, all sorts of things can happen. The main thing is that frequencies of each part of the sound or the sound itself react to one another. They can cancel out parts of the sound and or create new harmonics. So as you proceed through the mix and bring more and more things into the mix, the sound changes because the tracks interact with each other. A simple way to explain this is if you can imagine a keyboard and you play the note C3, it sounds fine. Then play C#3 at exactly the same time as you play C3, like this. So obviously, as they're playing at the same time, it sounds like a complete mess, right? And of course, you wouldn't put that into a song with an instrument playing those two notes at the same time. But a frequency is a note. It has a pitch. And each track that you're mixing is full of frequencies. To show you more about the relation of frequencies and pitch, take a look at this chart. So look, here's C3, just like in the demonstration just now with the MIDI keyboard, and its frequency is 130.81 cycles per second. And the note C#3 from the demonstration is 138.59 cycles per second. So the point of this is not just a list of interesting facts. We are actually going to use these numbers later on, and I'll show you how to get rid of unwanted frequencies. So on guitar tuners, for example, you'll often see A440 written, and obviously the 440, actually it's A4 on a keyboard and it's 440 Hertz. If you take a look at A2 here, it's 110 Hertz. A3 is 220 Hertz and A4 is 440 Hertz, so it's doubling every time and so on. And in musical terms we call these octaves. So the point is we have to do this, we have to address this. A consequence of not sorting out these individual frequencies and dynamics are that the final piece of music will sound messy, muddy and unclear. A bit like a wall of sound, but not in a good way. So when I take you through the EQ of each thing, we're trying to give each individual track its own flavour. It can be clearly heard when all the other tracks are in, and doesn't create any unwanted harmonics when you put it with the other tracks. It's a bit like cooking a meal. You know, you've got different things, let's say potatoes, carrots, and perhaps mushrooms and garlic butter, fish, whatever, and you cook them in separate pots and pans. They'll retain their own individual flavours, just like the tracks in a song. So if you cook all this stuff in one pot, it's just going to end up with one flavour. And you probably won't be able to pick out any of the individual flavours. Well, the same thing goes for mixing. And when you get it right, you become a 5-star chef. If you don't, you'll be cooking school dinners.